Hello everyone, welcome back to Total Football Talks. We're going to look at all the latest news and transfer news coming out of Manchester United. And actually there is news, but there's not as much absolutely that's been kind of thrashed around out there at the minute. We will look at some of the top stories, one being sort of there's news on Jadon Sancho and where that's going with Juventus, so we'll look at that. We'll have a quick take on what it means that Manchester United aren't getting Gyokeres. There's a little bit on Marcus Rashford from Henry Winter, who seems to be his sort of PR person through the media. We'll also look at some other news around Mason Greenwood, an Atalanta defender that we're apparently interested in, which I find very hard to believe in the current climate. And and we'll take a little bit about what Rúben Amorim has said about Ayden Heaven and what he kind of will hold for the future, for the season coming forward. But as you say, it's not. It's the start of the pre-season. All the players are back today, so we'll be interested to see if there's any movements and developments happening. Hopefully there will be, because my God, we need them to be. So we'll take a quick look at what that means. The players play not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. I think it's the first game against Leeds in the pre-season tour. So there isn't much time to turn this shitebag situation around, because we are in a terrible situation when it comes to the business that we've actually done, or lack of, as is. But we'll start with the Jadon Sancho story. But before I do, if you guys are enjoying the content, please, thank you so much for everyone who has subscribed. If you are new to these parts, please hit the old like button. Please hit the old subscribe button and get your comments in below on anything that I talk about. But look, we'll jump in with the Jadon Sancho transfer news. And this is what's coming out. Juventus are very optimistic about Jadon Sancho's deal. Apparently only details remain to close the deal. 25 million euro for Manchester United and 5 million plus bonuses for the player. So do we think this is going to happen? There's been a lot of news around it. There's been a lot of talk around it. Manchester United we know that Jadon Sancho is someone that Manchester United don't want back at the club. I don't think Rúben Amorim even wants to take a look at him. He knows what his personality is all about. The freedom fighter. He had a say when he went to Chelsea. It was a bit of a flash in the pan, did okay. I think he would be a good fit for Juventus. Can Juventus get this across the line? Will Jadon Sancho be prepared to take a pay cut? All these questions that still have to be answered. I don't know. I don't know whether this is going to happen. I want to believe it. There's a little bit of me that kind of, thinks, yes, this could be a deal that could be done. We could potentially get Jadon Sancho out of the club this week. Now, if this was to fall through, I think, and it could do, but if it doesn't and it does happen, then I think that would be great. We're not going to make much money off this, but I just think to have the wages off the books and to cover the PSR in terms of the transfer fee off the books, I think that could actually work to our advantage. Can Juventus get this done? Can they strike a deal with them? I bloody hope so. Because if they don't, then this will rumble on to the end of the season, the end of the transfer window, and then God only knows if he's going to sit around on his hands and won't actually play for anyone. Or unless he goes out on a loan again, which is absolutely pointless to us, because then he's into the last year of his contract, and it doesn't mean we can't pick up any money from him. This is our last chance. This is the last saloon to try and get something out for the Jadon Sancho saga, which it has become, because it was a saga before he even joined us. It's been a saga since he's joined us, and now it's a saga for us trying to get him out of the club. So I just hope, for his sake, the club's sake, everyone's sake, that this can be a deal that can be struck and we can move on. So that's the news on Jadon Sancho. But get your comments in below. Do you think Juventus will sign him? Do you think it's a good move for Juventus? Do you think Jadon Sancho would play well in the Italian league? Get your thoughts in below. Love to hear from you. Now, obviously, this was the news that was breaking yesterday. I didn't jump on it because I was extremely disappointed. Viktor Gyokeres will join Arsenal in a deal worth 80 million euro. The deal will be closed this Sunday. Well, that was yesterday, and obviously the deal wasn't closed. But Fabrizio Romano did say that there was a good chance that Here We Go was coming very, very soon. Manchester United I believe were interested in Viktor Gyokeres. He had a relationship with Rúben Amorim. He was a top striker for Rúben Amorim, playing for Sporting. And I do believe that Manchester United were interested in him. I think we as a club have failed. We failed this summer. We failed to get to Lap. We've now failed to get Gyokeres. So where are we on the list for strikers? So that's A and B. Plan A gone. Plan B gone. Is Plan C Victor Osimhen? If it is, and we can make it work with the wages, okay, I can live with that. Fair enough. If it's not, and it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin. As I said yesterday, seriously, what are we doing? If Dominic Calvert-Lewin came in as a second striker behind the Victor Osimhen, fair enough, I could understand that. But oh my God, if he comes in as the lead striker, the meltdown in this fan base, even I will struggle, because he might be a decent lad, but he has just Hoyland's got a better strike rate than Dominic Calvert-Lewin has in the Premier League. So I'll be absolutely beyond frustrated if we do go down that path. Angry. And also it just shows, as I said yesterday, the lack of the lack of so-called planning, because it's just back to desperation. So very, very fair play to Gyokeres. He chose Arsenal. He wanted to go to Arsenal. Arsenal are going to make this deal work. Arsenal now have a chance, I think, of at least putting up a hell of a fight with Liverpool. The two of them should push each other all the way for the title next year. Unfortunately, we won't even be pushing for the top 6 at this rate with the players that we're losing out on. Rúben Amorim had his players. Quanda, he wanted, they'd gone to Chelsea. Gyokeres, he wanted, gone to Arsenal. The players that he really, really wants from his sporting team are going to other teams, because this board is failing. But yeah, so that's where we are with the Gyokeres thing. Now this is kind of impacts on our transfer business, and this was coming out yesterday that Manchester United have 73.2 million in cash reserves in the third quarter of the financials, with 90 million left on their revolving 300 million pound credit card facility, which they have to stop using, because they're like any other person who knows it's a bad idea to use all your credit card and you cannot afford it. So we are financially in trouble, and I believe this is the reason why Delap was a must, because we could probably just about scrape the money together to make that work. We couldn't afford him. We missed out. We can't afford Gyokeres. I still think Gyokeres probably would have chose Arsenal. Maybe if we had won the Euro, maybe would have had a better chance of getting him, probably a higher chance of getting him. We failed in that department. The team failed. Rúben failed that particular night, and now we're struggling to bring in the players we need, because we have been rinsed dry. The Glazers haven't put a single penny in. Yes, Sir Jim has. The board have got people who are trying to do football business, but the actual business of running the club we're so low in terms of money that we're absolutely struggling now. So this is a shambles. And how do we fix this? We fix this by getting into the Champions League. How do we fix that? Is by spending money to get the players in that we need. We can't even do that, because we can't even find the extra bit of money to bring in Brian and Bruno. We can't get that across the line. I hope that happens this week. I heard yesterday on another channel who were talking that Manchester United may actually have to pull out, or step aside from that particular transfer bit of business. 5 weeks wasted, and if we walk away, we are a joke as a club. Not necessarily because we're not paying the money, but because we've taken so long to try and negotiate something that we knew was impossible to negotiate, and then we're going to balls it all up, and we're going to have to start from scratch again with a new player. And yeah, is that going to take another 5 weeks? Because if it does, by God, we ain't going to do much business between now and the end of the transfer window. So yeah, highly, highly frustrating. But this is what Henry Winter was saying about Marcus Rashford. My understanding is that Marcus Rashford has not asked to leave Manchester United, but he accepts that there's no part of Rúben. He's no part of Rúben Amorim's plans, and that he has to leave to be playing again to fulfill his ambition of going to the 2026 World Cup with England. So, and a move abroad is probably more likely. Mentioned before, Marcus Rashford is desperate to play in that World Cup. Marcus Rashford knows that he's not going to be part of the Manchester United team. Marcus Rashford understands that the only way forward from here is to find a European club. Now, Barcelona and Bayern Munich are two clubs that are going to be looking for players. I don't think Liverpool are going to give up Diaz. And we know that, Bayern Munich have just picked up a very bad injury with Musiala. And I think that Marcus Rashford would be a good fit for both these clubs. And at the price tag at 40 million, that would be excellent. I just think Marcus has just got to find a way to reduce those wages, and he will play for a big club. He'll play in the Champions League, and that'll put him back in the spotlight to get back into the England team. And I think that is, if he's got anything about him, I think that's the way forward. He now knows that there's no way back with Rúben Amorim, and Henry Winter is just he's putting it out there that Marcus Rashford has not asked to leave. he might as well have asked to leave for all the things that he's done or hasn't done on the football field. So that's the news coming from there. Now, there was a little bit of interesting news, which could help us, but I can't see this, that Manchester United could be set to receive £30 million from a Saudi Arabian side, Al-Ahli, as they prepare a £60 million bid for Mason Greenwood. Can I see Mason Greenwood going to the Saudi Pro League? I mean, it'd be an interesting one. Obviously, he's got a bit of a checkered career. Maybe he could go there. We know he's kind of fallen in and out of the Marseille team. He has had a brilliant league season with them. He scored a lot of goals. He's an exceptional talent. Unfortunately, he just has a wayward background. And maybe a move to Saudi for us would be amazing, because if we were to pick up 30 million, how true that is, I don't know. I'd need to look into it. If it was in and around that kind of figure, that would be absolutely amazing. We'd earn a lot of money from that. And it'd be worth his while, and it'd be excellent for Manchester United's financial situation. So let's keep a close eye on that. I'm not entirely sure whether that's going to go anywhere, but yeah, it's one that, if I'm doing this, and I know other content makers have done this, we're getting money for Fernandez if he goes from Benfica to Real Madrid, if if Elanga goes from Nottingham Forest to Newcastle, if Greenwood goes from Marseille to somewhere in the Saudi Pro League, we earn all this additional money. I mean, it's all hypothetical, it's all pie in the sky at the minute. Until it's all real, I don't think we can count any of that money, because we haven't got a single penny of it yet. There's potentially a way for us to make some money on the side, and it'd be great if we did, but I'm not going to delve into it too much because none of it's happened yet. Okay, so Rúben Amorim views Ayden Heaven as a first team at centre back for the upcoming season, impressed by the youngster's speed, athleticism, and defensive maturity. So there we go. Rúben Amorim talking about where he sees Ayden Heaven playing this season, and I think that's great, because the kid's an absolute cracked-in defender. He was a great signing, and now we know that Ethan Nwaneri is looking for a new contract at Arsenal. We know he's not quite getting the results that he's looking for. We've already got Chido Obi, we've got Ayden Heaven. Could we pull off an Nwaneri one? Could Jason Wilcox pull off a bit of a mad Wilcox moment there, and bring him in, because he's a brilliant player. He's not a young kid, but he has Premier League experience. He's someone who could be brought into the team, and he's got so much potential. So maybe that's an interesting one for Wilcox to be working on behind the backgrounds, in case Nwaneri doesn't sign for Arsenal. Final story: Manchester United are reportedly interested in signing Atalanta defender Gorgino Scavallani, but face strong competition from Premier League sides for his signature. Now, again, this is a story that was coming from Give Me Sport, and I just think that we're going to be linked with players. Atalanta, we have a relationship with. We like to take their players from them. We also like to pay them exorbitant amounts of money. So I just think in this particular instance, maybe we just avoid Atalanta, because they'll just absolutely tear us a new one with what they'll be asking for this kid. And so let's see. I don't think there's anything in this. We've been linked to all sorts of players in the past. I think this is just maybe his contract's up, and maybe he's looking for a new move. Maybe he's just looking for an improved wage. Who knows what it is? But yeah, I just, let's keep an eye on it. But I don't know. But as I said, pre-season's about to start. Let's see what happens this week. Let's hope the Bryan Mbeumo deal gets done. Let's hope Jadon Sancho actually gets the opportunity to go to Juventus. And let's hope things start to happen, because my God, they need to. That we are running out of time, and this board are failing at every turn, and I'm getting really frustrated with it now. I was hoping for a good summer, and we've had a frustrating summer. Yes, there's still a short amount of time to turn this around. I'm certainly not sitting easy. I'm certainly not cool, relaxed, chilled, laid back. I'm really angry, really annoyed, really frustrated that my club, who have failed last year, 15th in the league, are failing in the transfer market, and they need to pick up the pace very, very quickly. The next 2 weeks are so important, critical, that Manchester United make big moves. So let's hope that they can actually start to do some of their talking and making, because they've done a lot of talking. Let's see if they actually started, making some of these things actually happen, because I'm tired of the talking. All right, okay, guys, thanks very much for listening. I'm Keith. If you enjoyed the content, please hit the old like button. Please hit the subscription button. Get your comments in below with anything I've talked about, and I shall see you tomorrow, hopefully with better news.